integrative oncology,
integrative medicine,
helping countless patients reclaim their lives, reimagining health education for professionals, and pushing the boundaries of science with rigorous research. All of this, in large part, is thanks to someone you might not expect.
Drivers of
Yes, it's Bernie Marcus, the co-founder of Home Depot. His contributions to this journey cannot be underscored enough.
He wanted to save medicine. Medicine has been floundering for the last 30 or 40 years, partially because they practice the same type of medicine for almost a century. And there are think tanks all over the United States of very smart people trying to develop ways to save medicine. And everything has failed. And Bernie's vision of saving medicine was not to add something to it, but to be absorbed into the integrative model, which would save expenses as well as improve patient care.
Unlocks every door.
Home Depot today is 330,000 people. I've created jobs in America. I ran a business.
But much more than money was required. We also very much needed the insights and strategic guidance from the kind of person who could build a thriving Fortune 500 company as Mr. Marcus has.
If you're there for them and you're sincere about helping them, you can change their lives. You can have an effect on their lives.
Local fire officials are investigating along with the FBI and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. A U.S. crashed into a home in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota over the weekend. U.S. Bank says the medical examiner has not officially confirmed Dolan was on board, but the company believes he was the victim. The aircraft was a small executive transport plane capable of carrying 6 people. It struck a home, setting it on fire around 12:20 p.m. local time on Saturday.
Are still without power.
If they stop seeing the clouds, that won't happen.
Are said to be intense, with bargaining chips such as a move to decrease or even abolish a British tax on US big tech firms. Britain's Office for Budget Responsibility watchdog said last week that high US import tariffs would harm the UK's economic activity, saying they could cut the size of Britain's economy by as much as 1%. British ministers have downplayed any immediate tariff retaliation against the US, arguing that a trade war is bad for global economic growth. Malcolm Hudson, NTD News.
Stop charging
A
us
collaboration
tariffs.
between a Chinese research institute and a tech company said it aims to implant brain chips into 13 people by the end of this year. If it happens, the project would overtake Elon Musk's Neuralink in collecting patient data. The director and chief scientist working on the semi-invasive Chinese brain chips said the company inserted brain chips into 3 people in the past month and will implant them in 10 more people this year. One of the companies is the Beijing-based Chinese Institute for Brain Research, and the other is China's state-owned New Cyber Neurotech. The director said next year's plans are to begin formal clinical trials in around 50 people. U.S. brain-computer interface company Synchron, whose investors include Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, is currently the global leader in terms of human trials with 10 patients. Elon Musk's Neuralink currently has 3 people with its implant. Next, we have Xi Jinping has suffered a stroke during a major meeting last year, and his power has been significantly weakened since. That's reflected in recent political purges within China's central governing body, especially its military command structure. Those efforts are likely pushed by Xi's internal enemies inside the party as they attempt to dilute Xi's power. We tapped China news commentator Tang Jingyuan for more.
Health conditions are top secrets for authoritarian leaders. Heads of regimes like those in Communist China and North Korea believe guarding such secrets is critical to retaining their power. But China's Xi likely failed in that regard. China affairs commentator Tang Jingyuan and other separate sources told us that a major incident happened to Xi last year.
Last October, we gained access to a highly authoritative source which told us that Xi Jinping suffered a severe stroke during the third plenum event, collapsing on the spot at the meeting venue. This was a very serious incident, but the Chinese Communist Party has been making every effort to cover it up. Ultimately, Xi's loss of power is indeed closely related to the stroke.
NTD has verified that this is a highly trusted insider source, the same source.
Chinese expansion. Now is the time to stand together again. For peace, for security, for the future. America stands with Greenland.
Now, look, whether Greenland becomes part of the United States, that's going to be up to the people of Greenland. This has been the repeated statement of Trump and those around him. J.D. Vance reportedly had some trouble finding locals who wanted to meet with him, but the recent elections there, they suggest that at the very least people want independence. Basically, here's what's happening. If you were to read the media, a lot of the big corporate media, they would say that nobody wanted to host J.D. Vance, nobody wanted to meet with them personally, and some organizations kind of pushed them out. They wanted to keep a distance. There's two ways to read this. One way to read it is, well, the locals there do not like this whole idea of becoming part of the United States. They kind of rejected them. The other one, which if you read what people are actually saying, suggests a lot of people don't want to get pulled into this very contentious political debate. And if you understand, you have a country of about 50,000 people, not a lot of people, meaning a lot of people know each other, and this is a contentious issue. They might not want to throw their weight too heavily behind a very contentious issue. And so they're keeping a bit of space. Read it whichever way you want. But what is happening here also, though, is we can look at the elections in Greenland to understand which way people might want to go. What happened? They're a pro-independence party. They want to be independent of Denmark. They want Greenland to be its own country, not even just, self-governing, but independent. There is a difference there. They want to be independent. Now, that also means that they want to be independent from the United States. But the second place party not only wants independence, but they also want to be part of the U.S. The third party that won, the lowest tier, that's the anti-U.S. party. They're the ones that kind of want to be where they are. And so if you understand, about 2/3 of voters are at least in favor of independence, and about half of those ones are kind of pro-USA. They're warming up to the idea, and this has been part of the big analysis also with the significance of the elections there. And of course, if they do become independent from Denmark, it means they need to have the ability to be economically independent and independent in terms of defense. And who is offering that to them right now? Well, China and Russia are trying to push in there without a doubt, but so is the United States. And Greenland, independence or not, is going to have to choose which way it wants to go. Does it want to be part of the China system, or does it want to be part of the U.S. system? China will do it by subversion. They will do it by business deals. The U.S., honestly, kind of the same thing. But the U.S., of course, promising a very different set of values: freedom, protection, the Constitution. And of course, we'll see which way Greenland chooses to go.